get it. My Master Chief donor.
And?
The media that you consume as a kid is so formative. And it's only been since like the 60s, would you think, where media has been produced on such a mass scale that experiences of like all watching the same show and being like, hey, I really like the character. And then like, yeah, I like the character too. And that's people wonder where furries came from, and it's pretty simple. They all watch the same. They had the same formative experience that resonated with them on like a deep level. Like I don't know whether people in the chat or something can. But I remember seeing something where it was I'm going to talk about barnacles. I'm so sorry. This is a common topic
Oh my god. Oh my god. How many times has he talked about barnacles?
So I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to say it again here. Bionicle changed my life.
Pineapple.
It was Barnacle and the Mask of Light. It was a VHS copy of Barnacle and the Mask of Light, and I was watching it like la 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 media. Whoa! And there was Barnacle. I can't remember his name, which isn't a good sign, but it was the green one, right? The green Barnacle, and he was nice, and he was handsome, and he was like in the tree. He was like connected with nature, which felt really cool because I felt like I wanted to be friends with the big animals in the nature, and I was like, yeah, this guy's like in touch with it. And there was some kind of like Lewa, yes, level ratchet. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. You're picking up my slack. Everybody's like Lewa. Yeah, you see the people chat be like,
what is going on?
Barnacles rules. What are you talking about? Barnacles rules. What are you talking about?
They do.
I still have some.
You're too young. You don't understand.
I played with my
you missed the train, honestly.
I played with them, guys. I'm not that young.
But I remember this like I don't even know how to describe it, like a hot feeling in my head where I felt this real strong attachment be like towards this character, and that's kind of the basis of how a lot of people get into sort of furry subculture things. It's because of that like intense sort of longing. Here's something really embarrassing. Actually, it's not embarrassing. So I don't think I went really far into like Sonic the Hedgehog, being Sonic the Hedgehog pilled. I wasn't like a huge Sonic fan, even though that's a really common pipeline in furry. Like being a Sonic fan and then becoming furry, super common. But I watched Sonic X. I'm 26 now for reference. So when Sonic X was airing, I was around that like the perfect age for it, and I remember sitting at my windowsill and praying to the Judeo-Christian God for Sonic to be real and to be my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about this before, and Pineapple and I have talked at length about this before, but like, who wouldn't want, a creature CGI best friend? Like that's something that like we both really connected on, and I think it's a very common thing to want, even as a kid and even as you get older. It's just like I call it the special friend, right? It's very common in a lot of kids' movies and media, where it's just like or the CGI best friend, where it's like there's the kid, and then there is like the creature that they're a friend with, and they go on these adventures with, and that always resonated. Yeah, dragon, Sonic, anything, that always really resonated with me as a kid. I think it does with a lot of people, and it kind of, I don't know, like I've always, even like when I was growing up, I remember wondering why I wanted that so bad, like one desire to want to interact with a non-human, but like a non-human creature that was also like as intelligent as a human. You know what I mean? Like I could never figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, why did I want that so bad?
I think that there's a really, at least this is for me, I had a really powerful feeling of wanting to be acknowledged by something that was, by all metrics, like better and like more like wise and like it's a big dragon, man.
Yeah.
If a big dragon thinks you're cool, you're doing pretty well, right? I'd like to think so. Yeah, and there's I feel like a lot of people have this experiences. There are plenty of people who are just too embarrassed about talking about a part of their psyche that is so vulnerable, where it's like, yeah, I really wanted to sort of be, I don't know, when you're a kid, you have such like strong compulsions towards these fictional characters, and it's
okay. Well, I got a question for you and for Chad, actually. Anybody who's still listening. Okay, would you rather have a dragon best friend who hangs out with you, or would you rather be the dragon best friend? So, like, you get to be the dragon and you have a human best friend.
You know my answer.
I know your answer, but go ahead and say it.
You know my answer.
They don't know the answer.
Yeah. I actually don't. So, I don't really care about Tia as a subject matter. I'm sort of not that interested. I want to be I want to be friends with the dragons. I'm like being a dragon. It's just a lot of work. But I want to
wag big tail. Like, so much you got to do.
But
Jonas, like you and I are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Because if you know like a couple things about Donuts, you love being like turning into big like
I like being
tail things. Yeah,
I love Tia. You know, I'm all about that.
I don't have fur to like.
Yeah.
Doesn't get everywhere.
Hobby, what about you? What's your stance?
That's true. I go back to sleep.
I would like I'm like in the middle. I could be a dragon or I could be the dragon's friend. I don't really care.
That's very neutral. That was very diplomatic answer. You should be a politician. Don't be inside here.
Everyone vote for me for something. I don't know. You can do whatever.
Vote, Hobby.
But yeah, I want to talk about all the vulnerable topics about people when they're first being furries. For example, at least for me, I was huge into My Little Pony and Warrior Cats. And there's
Warrior Cats.
You know, opinions about that, but like I loved it, man. When I was in like 5th grade, me and my friends during recess, we just like be warrior cats and just we wouldn't walk on all fours or anything, but you know we were cats, and that was a good time. I enjoyed it, and now it's like, yeah, maybe I still do it this day. I don't know. Anyone want to role play warrior cats with me? Meet me after.
Okay, so tell me, give me the name of. I know nothing about warrior cats. But there's a cat called like Red Firepaw, Sparking Firepaw. Okay, so how would we up you? How would we give me a summary of warrior cats like right now? Right now.
I mean, it's on the title, right?
Yeah. Okay. So
no,
dude, they're cats.
They have like claws.
Right here.
Yeah.
But
what was that?
So like, I don't know nothing about this show. I've never seen it. So like, so just regular cats.
They're just regular cats.
Or is it like in like London?
So is this like a Redwall thing?
It's like the aristocrat.
It's kind of like Redwall, right?
What is that?
So it's like they're a bunch of animals, so we're just animals, but like there's other humans in the world too, and they like can't talk to each other. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just what it is. It's just regular cats who can talk to each other because you know they meow and stuff. But they live. I think their forest is in like a giant neighborhood, so there are a bunch of humans that live around them. But inside the forest, they have like clans, and they call humans two legs. And they're like, they kind of treat them as like mystical creatures almost. Like who are these people, dude? Who are these people with 2 legs walking around here? We like a 4.
By the way, Hobby, you just lost a lot of aura by saying what is Redwall. There are many people who are shaking their head right now. Huge aura loss.
You get some books to read.
Absolutely. But no, okay, so here's a question about warrior cats. So long-running fantasy series often have a problem with a creeping scope, where it's like the first one is like, we need to save the. Sorry, I don't know anything about warrior cats. We need to save the cat. But then often at the end of fantasy series, it's like the world is ending. The planet is in our hands. Is that like does that happen in warrior cats, or is that like
do they save the world in warrior cats?
Do they save the world? Do they stop like a bomb going off?
It's That would be crazy if they did. I don't think it's that like fantasy where cats defuse a bomb. But see, I only read one. I didn't know this, but I only read one of the series. There's like 30 other books I haven't read. But the ones that I read, it was just like the cats grow old and like the young people become like the like leaders in the clans, and it's like new like hierarchies and stuff. It's just like lifestyle kind of living. And
it's a fantasy cat series. Yeah. But that's interesting because the inevitable march of time often isn't much of a...
Stream of it, but if I like really shitty, then I'll just stay here and watch it myself.
I want to go to blackout.
Such a good show.
Yeah. I will.
You need to watch some more of it.
I'll probably try and pop in a minute. We'll see what happens. Let me look at the schedule. Yeah. Wah.
One hour break.
It's like looking at a train wreck and crashing and burning apart. Dude, the amount of people.
I gotta say hi to
Are you still on me?
Yeah,
Oh, did you have that CRB?
You had a someone else.
It makes me... Okay, so I'm gonna be vulnerable again here. Okay. I kind of don't have a Sona. I'm the communications director for Furality, which is ostensibly a big unknown like furry thing that goes on. I have a sheep, kind of, but my friends commissioned... One of my friends, Beric the Cleric, shout out to Beric, he commissioned because he was sick of me not having a Sona. I mean the sheep, and I like the sheep, but I get so envious of people who immediately are like, bang, this is my song, and it's like it's just like, zoom, and they get great art, and it's just like super like that.
Of like established identity in the fandom, right? I have a lot of friends like you who like either don't have a Sona or only just barely have a Sona, as in they have like no art, or like or even just a few pieces of art or whatever, and it's like I don't know, like they're all valid. It doesn't really, it shouldn't affect your enjoyment of the fandom. How like established and well known your Sona is. I've heard a lot of people say that like the fandom can turn into a popularity contest. And like I guess that's true to a sense.
Yeah.
It depends on like what you're trying to get out of the fandom, Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like anthropomorphizing and making your Sona look like aesthetically attractive, which is pretty common. Like unless there are some people who really revel in like being like really like punky, especially like rat and possum Sonas. They're less interested in like looking super like
hyenas,
like super perfect and stuff like that. Cool. They kind of like that stuff, but it's kind of when you have a community where like having a really pretty Sona is sort of obviously a thing that people like to do, I can understand why it can become more like a who has the most like attractive Sona rather than what the expression of yourself, I guess.
Right.
It's
Well, like I said, it's
interesting.
about what you want to get out of the fandom, you know, and like what makes you happy. Because some people do that. Is they make their Sona as well known as they can. They make whole social media accounts for their Sona, and they get tons of art commissioned, and that and they become. I'm gonna gag saying this, but a poppy fur after a long enough time doing it, and like I don't think that like people should hate on those people as much as they do when they hear that term, because in my mind they're getting what they want out of the fandom and making themselves happy.
Yeah.
And just because you don't want to do that doesn't mean you need to hate on somebody else for doing that. You know, just because somebody likes to be popular and like have their Sona out there for people to see and to show it off, and the result of that, I don't think there's a reason to hate on somebody. You know, I think it's totally fine. It just depends on what you want to get out of the fandom.
Something that we do need to hate on is the amount of time we have left. We only have 5 minutes.
Oh goodness.
Twitch chat. Do you have any questions for us? You have us. You've captured us in this dream realm, and we're here. Yeah. If you have any questions to any of us, Pineapple Hobby, Donuts. This is a really good time to do it. We'll be wrapping up really shortly.
Putting him back in the box.
We are opening the floor up to you guys. So if you have any questions for me about my tail, then just let me know. I'm more than happy to answer.
So many mysteries about your tail.
Yeah.
I realize I'm not. I just saw myself on the screen. I need to move over to where I'm supposed to be. Oh no, the thing's gone. That's fine.
Whenever the name cards pop up, I always think like we're like in the middle of an RPG battle because they look like Final Fantasy, like Eli.
I've consistently not been in the right place for my name card at all.
But now you're so far away.
We have some questions.
Cool.
Why big tail be big?
Obviously. And I eat my
That's so
veggies.
true.
And my eat your veggies. There you go.
Oh, Gaming Penguin 21 says, I want to now participate and or catch in this podcast. Where can I find you all? Bark Official on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Bark Official on Twitch. We're also on YouTube and Spotify. If you just search up Barkcast, you should find it, hopefully. If not, that's a problem. But it should be there. It shouldn't run away. But yeah, we have 12 episodes. It's kind of like a taste for how it is. But you can watch the actual real
so long.
There you go.
Can we meet Finn? Finn is, you can meet Finn. You'll have to find him though. Nobody knows what Finn is really. Finn is Finn, the Win office is unknown. But Finn tends to be around, Yeah, Finn is like the Wind. But if you're a Furality, which I hope you are, then you'll be able to catch him. If you have a little bit of luck. Okay, you talked about Quest Pro. Are you hoping for a new generation of immersive quests, even if it costs more? Yeah, even if it's really expensive, if there's a technological advancement that comes with the headset, then I'm all for it. Like, if it's a really good headset that has really compelling features and it's light, then the price, like, one of the things we can more or less hopefully guarantee with VR technology is that it will over time become cheaper and lighter. So even if it starts really expensive, but it's really cool, then hopefully the price will come down and then it's just easier to enjoy. Oh, there's so many questions. Any future plans for Bark? I don't want to be the one to answer that.
Yeah, no, we mentioned on the podcast sometimes, but I mean, there was a lot of future plans for Bark. Not a lot we can really talk about, but they're really cool. Yeah, I'm like, dude, the people are gonna love this. So.
What are your favorite Bionicle character thing? Because we'll get stuck on what I think it said. Lewa, the Green Bionicle. Let's see. Did any of you have your Sona's design change over time till you settled on one? Well, that's not a question for me. That's a question for you two.
I mean, at least for me, I used to be a wolf, and then I changed into the Komodo dragon, changed my color palette completely, and then moved it into the goat because I felt like it fit me, myself better. And so, like, now this is how I am, and I feel like I'm gonna stay like this for quite a long time. I don't see any future plans of changing.
Razor says, is this podcast going to be uploaded through your own channels? Probably not going to be on the Bard channel. I'm sure, like, I think it won't be a problem together. But it will for sure be on Furality channels. We upload all Furality events. We put them on YouTube. It might take a while, because there's a bunch of stuff we have to do after the con. After Furality Summit ends, all staff just like, okay, we're gonna rest for a bit. And then after that, we'll get to things like uploading VODs and all that. But this is being recorded. You'll be able to check it out, and we'll see if it can get on the.
What they're planning for their set.
I saw somebody say, what is the longest last session we had on the podcast? It's like the Reef episode, Reef Ref. Oh yeah. We talked about if you wash your hands after you piss or not. We were dying for like 10 minutes straight. I definitely recommend you go watch that episode.
Reef still goes off about that on their own stream, by the way. Like I think every stream they talk about it.
It's like his bit, yeah.
Yeah. I saw somebody also say, what is my model's name? And they were like, your lizard is so cute. Thank you. I wish I could say that I had any like creative input here. I just really love this avatar. This is the Durgan from MIDI. DERGON by MIDI. MIDDEH, I think? Yeah, I think that's it. We're done.
Great avatar.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast, everyone.
Yeah.
If you're in for it and have a great time, we have the closing ceremonies coming up in the day. We have the community showcase. This weekend is when it's really ramping up. So thank you, everybody. I think we're done.
Yeah,
I think so. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Go follow Donuts everywhere. Go follow him. Go.
Also,
There was another. Gotta advertise. And I VJ'd for like 3 of the
Imagine like you made a dragon base that looks kind of like
Betty.
They got cut off as well.
Yeah. I'll be back in 2 hours. Yeah, you did that last night. Alright.
Yeah.
The other.
Oh.
30th. Last month.
Oh, last month.